All right. I'll talk about Google Ads, as Rahim said, and just before I begin, if you have any questions, do ask them. Just raise your hand. There is a Zoom function for it, and ask. Not wait until the end of the presentation, but please do ask right away. So just raise your hand, and I'll be able to answer while the question is still hot. Okay. So let me begin. It's going to be a little bit of a mess because I've done my presentation on a couple of platforms. Let's hope that that everything is going to be technically ready and no complications on the technical side. Let me begin. All right. First of all, I'll go through this Mentimeter platform. First half of the presentation is over here because I want you to get involved a little bit, but about that a little later. Let me begin everything about Google Ads for NGOs. So the most important thing is that, just a moment, let me see why, oh, here. Most important part is that NGOs since last year, since March, can get $10,000 monthly to splash out on Google Ads. So Google has made this program for called Google Ad Grants for NGOs, and eligible NGOs, that is, which are working with specific issues, target groups, can get that. Now, this is a massive sum of money to spend monthly, yet there are some ifs and buts connected to it, okay? Before I get to those buts, let me just see that probably all of us have seen Google Ads. It's every time, most of the time you search something on Google, it's gonna pop up as at the top of your search list as ads or skelbimas in Lithuanian. You can see that daily, and you can see it over here as well. I've marked it as red. So ads are quite powerful because they usually end up at the top of your search list, of the search results. Yet, the question is, can you advertise whatever you want on Google Ads? My short answer is absolutely no. Google Ads is not for everything. The long answer is, though, that only the things or services that people search for already, that is, that are not new, can be searched. I'll get to that logic a little later. Let me just say that this is quite different to Facebook because you can't just push your message or your product or your service to people's faces. They need to search for it first. So Facebook is good for example, new stuff, showing off what you've created, a service that not a lot of people heard about. While Google search is good for advertising stuff that people already look for. Because obviously, if it's new, no one's gonna search, and it's unknown, no one's gonna search about it in the search field. Now, in practice, let's get, because we are talking about Google Ads for NGOs, and I'll just wanted to tell you how it works out in practice. So ActiveView for our NGO has more than 100 web pages on our website, yet we have only about 20 Google ad groups, but let's say for now, we'll call it ads. I'm gonna get into the differences between ad group and ad a little later. So only about 20% of the pages that we have can be in one way or another way advertised, and not necessarily can be advertised successfully. Because sometimes you can create an ad, but Google is not going to show it to a lot of people. Now, we'll get to ads a little later. But before that, I want you to connect to menti.com because I have a little query for you. So you see a code at the top. Let me reduce the sound for myself. All right, we have one player connected. Just go to your phone or whatever and connect in. It's gonna be an easy survey. Actually, a couple of questions. Superb. I think 6 people are already a big group. I'll want you to take a look and choose what is, in your opinion, more suitable to be advertised on Google. Either Youth Exchange, Make a Difference, or How to Go Abroad for Free. Okay, a lot of people did good. Actually, this is just illustrates my point that not everything can be advertised on Google. I don't think there is a lot of people who type in the search query Youth Exchange, Make a Difference. Okay, they might look for just Youth Exchange, Erasmus Exchange, but there is a lot of people who probably are interested in traveling free. And in Google, queries such as how to do this or that are quite popular. So the second term is way more suitable. And of course, you can check the popularity of terms on googletrends.com, google.com/trends. But this is not about that. Anyway, the logic behind this is that some things are not really searchable and are not suitable for advertising. Now, a second question, also similar, you'll have to see what's more suitable. So once again, 15 more seconds. So we have 2 queries, Be Smart Education Platform and Online Course for NGO. What do you think is more suitable? All right, everyone did good this time. So yeah, I guess everyone got the point that only queries that are searchable are quite okay. So over here you see the leader list, and congratulations to Bulka, you're doing the best so far. Anyways, let me get to just a quick recap. Only services that are searchable are suitable for advertising, or things or products or ideas. But everything that you see in Google, all the ads are based on keywords. So keyword is the smallest bit from which we are going to begin to learn about Google Ads. Your keywords in Google Ads, they're words that Google match with the search query. So for example, if I look for how to go abroad for free, and your ad has that keyword, for example, to go abroad for free or how to go abroad for free, it's likely that Google is going to match your keyword with my search and show your ad for me. So keyword is the smallest bit of an ad. Everything is sort of based on it. And you will see later on in the presentation, how does it go up? Keyword, ad group, campaign. But right now, let's stay with keywords, okay? And if you have any questions so far, as I've said, just raise your hand. I'll do my best to answer, because it's going to be a lot of information, and it's better to strike the iron while it's still hot, okay? Okay, so I had another question for you. Knowing that keywords sort of form the base of your ad, I want you to type in 3 or less keywords that you think would suit an ad for volunteering activity with refugees. What sort of keywords would you use for your Google ad to be shown to people on Google search? What do you think? Can someone confirm if you can type in something or no longer? Can you type in keywords or, oh yeah, I see that. Okay, let's wait for a little bit and I'm gonna comment on the choice of keywords and tell why some of them are good and why some of them might not be so good. Okay. Let's say 5 more seconds. All right, so we don't have that many keywords. Let's begin from the left. Help needed. Well, not sure if a lot of people do those kind of searches. Help needed, we should check on Google Trends how many people do that search, but I think it might work because if you type in, as a user, type in help needed, you might be looking for opportunities as these. Now, Red Cross is, of course, a very good keyword because Red Cross works with refugees, and if you have a lot of people know it, so naturally, when people search for activities with refugees, they might think about Red Cross and type in a keyword Red Cross in their search query. Volunteering, also a good keyword, quite broad, but still it covers a lot about your activity. So it's volunteering and volunteering activity with refugees. Savanori is also quite good if your target group is Lithuanians. Help, I think it's a little bit too wide because there might be a lot of different kinds of help that people might be looking for. Maybe someone needs help with a car, someone needs help with dental problems. So free help, similar, what else? Urgent, I don't think that's a good keyword because it doesn't, if people type in Google search urgent, I don't think that's an indicator that they might be looking for something related to your volunteering activity with refugees. Support as well, it might be too broad and not necessarily indicate that that person searching is looking for such an activity. Migrants, pretty good, but maybe a person searching is looking just for some information on migrants. Help out, a little bit better, but still quite broad. Refugee, same as migrant, can indicate that person is just looking for information. Now, everything I said is matters if you are counting your budget. So if you are, for example, if you don't have a Google grant, every click for you is going to cost, let's say, around €1, maybe 80 cents. So you want only people who you think are really interested to see your ad. So, for example, if your keyword was migrant, and a lot of people search for information on migrants or refugees, they all will get your ad because your keyword is migrant. And you're going to get obviously a lot of clicks, but not a lot of people are going to be interested in volunteering. And you are going to pay a lot for a lot of people who are not interested in the end. So to cut down costs, it's better to sort of narrow down your keywords such as volunteer, volunteering activity, volunteer with refugees, etc. Though for NGOs that get Google ad grants, that is $10,000, sometimes a budget is not of concern. So sometimes you just want to show your activity to as many people as possible. So it really depends on your case, but if you are flush with budget, then yeah, you can go with broad keywords. Yes, I suppose I've talked enough about this, and I hope the choice of keywords is understandable to you right now. If not, raise your hand and ask me a question, okay? So yeah, let me do a quick recap of this so-called part one. That Google Ads is for something people already search for. That's one. Secondly, keywords need to be searchable. Good thing, Google gives you suggestions, and you, in the second part, we're going to move on to the platform itself, and I'm going to talk about the platform. But basically, when you create an ad, Google asks you to specify what sort of service or product it is, and it also gives you good suggestions for good keywords. It works quite great, quite excellent in English language, not so good in Lithuanian, unfortunately, but suggestions are pretty good. And good examples for keywords could be volunteering in Vilnius, or volunteering near me, or how to do X, how to do something, how to do this or that. A lot of people search for it. So these kind of keywords are good. Yeah, and let's go to part two. Part two I have on a picture. On the left side, you see the input. On the right side, you see the preview, and basically the ad. Every regular ad consists of 3 headlines. Headline 1, what I said at the top, how to write project proposals. Headline 2, 6 steps to take before writing. Headline 3, get an easy guide for dummies. All of that you can see on the top left of the picture, and also in the screen preview on the mobile device on the right. These are very important. These make the sort of the spine of the ad, because people usually look just into them. The descriptions is the small text, and it's a space filler because not a lot of people read the small text. For example, myself, I don't read it. It's just a way in my eyes to fill up space, and sometimes give some extra information that some people might read. Okay, so this was really fast right now. Do you want me to take it slower with this? Maybe someone has any questions so that when we move further, this part is going to be understandable. That is, what are the main components of a regular ad? Well, if not, then let's move on to the next slide, where Rahim thankfully stopped me to take a closer look at these components and see what is what. So right now it might look like it's a lot of different things, and some of them might be quite not, let's say, not so complicated, but not so understandable either. Why are we doing this? This slide is going to answer the whys. So let's take a look at the headlines. Headline 1, how to write project proposal. Headline 2, 6 steps to take before writing. Headline 3, get an easy guide for dummies. And taken one by one, this would not make sense, but when these are connected, it sort of makes sense. You are looking at some sort of guide with 6 steps on how to write project proposals. And when you have description, which doesn't matter, that's why I made it really small. The headlines have up to 30 characters with spaces. That's why it's a limited space. You need to express yourself with powerful words in that limited space. Descriptions have up to 90 characters with spaces. It's a little bit more, but it matters a lot less. Yeah, and what I'm showing over here, I think it's a very good example of an ad. It works pretty well from our statistics. People are clicking on it, and people who click on it actually do actions that we want in our website. And right now, let's see what is what in this ad. So headline 1, basically, these are sort of guidelines for Google Ads, how they should look like. And I'm following these guidelines in our ads, and I see the results. So headline 1 is should always sort of be the subject. It should make clear to user to person who searches, to person who sees the search results with your ad, what is it about? How to write project proposals. Headline 2 is usually some sort of cool feature or something that helps you stand out. In our case, headline 2 is 6 steps to take before project writing. So a user sort of sees that there are going to be 6 steps and that he or she needs to do before project writing. It's something that helps you stand out. Headline 3, though, it's recommended that it should be a call to action. That is, in our case, get an easy guide for dummies, or visit the website, get a guide, or get a free consultation on project writing. Some sort of action that user should do to get the benefit. So headline 1, the subject. Headline 2, cool feature. Headline 3, call to action. And description is just small text to fill up space. Now, before I go further, let's go back to Mentimeter. And this time I'll make sure I'm gonna do it right. Okay, we should be back to Mentimeter right now. Can you confirm it?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, thanks God. Right now, I want you to connect back to it and tell me which is the most suitable for a headline of these headlines, which is the most suitable as a headline 1. I think if you connect, you can just drag and drop these to the bottom or to the top. So maybe a few more answers, 10 more seconds or so. Yep, thanks a lot for answers. I can see that EU project proposal writing won, and indeed, this is the best, this is the most suitable as headline 1, because it tells the user what is it about. Efficient and helpful process is obviously a feature that, hey, project writing is efficient, so it goes good as a headline 2. Get tips and advice and support right now, it's a call to action, because you are telling the user that searches your ads, hey, click on it and you're gonna get this and that. Get project done and contact us as well, call to action. And 6 years of experience, 70% success rate. It's headline 2 as well, because it's about a feature of your proposal writing. So you did good. Let me get back to PowerPoint. Just a moment. All right, back to PowerPoint, yeah?
Yes, we are.
Super. And I think since I see that results on the Mentimeter at least are good, I believe you you manage to follow and manage to understand the main components of an ad and how do they connect together. Okay? Now, what I was telling about descriptions, that we are space fillers, we are small text, and you need them to take as much space as possible in an ad, because right now you see on the screen the Google search for car rent. It's in Lithuanian, I'm sorry about that, but it doesn't matter because it can be anything. And over here you can see a massive, well, a big ad that takes a lot of space, which means that you can see that the user sees your ad and not someone else's. If the ad is small, if the maximum space is not taken, there are more ads on the screen. As an advertiser, you want to take as much space as possible to give as little space as possible to your competitors, to other car rental firms. That's why descriptions are necessary, just as a space filler. Also, ad extensions are something created to fill up the space. I'm not gonna talk explicitly about them right now because it's once you create an ad, it's really easy to add an ad extension. It's really super simple, just typing some text and adding a link, and Google shows it as an ad extension. Over here, you can see ad extensions below your ad. So on the left side of the screen, it's an ad on a computer screen, and it's just some extra car rental links, details, whatever, different firms. It takes a lot of space and makes your ad look a lot bigger. So ad extensions are quite useful. And if a person, for example, clicks on the ad and an ad extension, you pay the same. It's not like you pay more for a click. On the right-hand side, you see a mobile ad where you can see the ad, and below it, two link extensions and also a call extension, which is as well very useful because the user can just click on the call extension and will be in touch with you via phone. All right, so yep, I just showed this to illustrate the fact that taking as much space as possible is useful. And this can be done via using the limits given to you by Google for your headlines and your descriptions, as well as ad extensions. You can stop me right here if you have any questions, because right now we're going to be moving from ad to ad group. We started with a keyword. Right now we focused on ads a little bit, and we're going to be moving to ad groups, which is a little bit of it's still bigger component in Google Ads. Ad group is a group of ads, and usually it's recommended to have 3 ads that are for the same purpose. For example, to advertise your volunteering activity in Vilnius. You have your volunteering activity, and you make ad 1 for it, ad 2 for it, and ad 3 for it. So you'll have 3 ads all linking to the same activity. And the question is, why is that? Why do you need 3 ads? The reasons are several, though. First of all, Google has amazing machine learning algorithms. And if you have more than 1 ad, over time, it will learn which ad works best for a specific target group. So if you have different target groups, perhaps younger people is going to show ad 1 to them, a little bit middle-aged people is going to show ad 3 to them, elderly is going to show ad 2 to them, or like males and females. Different ads might work different for different target groups. That's why Google prefers when your ad group for the same purpose has more than 1 ad. Also, there is another reason. If, for example, you're looking for volunteering activity in Vilnius, you typed it in the search window and it gives you results with your ad in. For some reason, you don't click on it and you refresh or retype your search query, and Google once again shows up your ad, but this time shows up your activity, but this time with different ad in your ad group. So Google wants you to have more ads for the same purpose, for them to be able to show the same ad to the same person in twice in a row, though he or she might think it's a different ad because the text is a little bit different. Perhaps even you can change the name of the link. It can be a little bit different, and that person might click on it in the second time if first time was unlucky. Okay. And if you create two ads, it might be too little for variations. That is, there are lots of different target audiences, and two might be too little to variate, to optimize the ad for a specific target group. Four, though, is too much of a hassle. We think that 3 is an optimal number and no need to create a fourth one unless you really want, unless you really have ideas for 4 specific ads. But I think it's better to work on other elements of your experience. For example, the landing page where the person gets after clicking on the ad. So 3 is the optimal number. And let me focus on those 3 ads. Why 3 and what sort of, I mean, I said why, but what sort of 3 ads does Google want? So 2 regular ads, what I talked about before, plus 1 responsive ad. That is, all of these, 2 plus 1 makes the perfect 3. What is a responsive ad? It's basically the same as a regular ad, but it has more headlines. So you can type in 15 different headlines, and Google is going to variate it every time it shows to someone and see what works best for who. So if there is enough traffic, and if you have $10,000 every month, there is surely going to be enough traffic because you're going to generate, you're not going to care a lot about the budget. You'll just want a lot of people. So responsive ads for NGOs do quite good because you have a lot of traffic and Google can optimize that responsive ad to show the 3 best headlines to a specific target group. And over here, you can see the platform window, the edit window of a responsive ad. From the top to the bottom, a lot of lines of 13 characters each. It's all of these are headlines. So Google picks up 2 or 3 every time, mixes and matches them around, see what works the best. Any questions about responsive ads and how are they different from regular ones? Well, if not. But I was talking a lot about specific target group, specific target audience. So naturally, the question to ask is, how does Google know so much about you? And it does know a lot, and it's mostly based on your search history, but not just that, a lot more. Your Gmail, your Chrome, whatever you search on Chrome, everything sort of builds up and Google creates a profile of yours. So I gave you a link over here in this presentation. I'm going to share it. Or you can just Google what Google knows about me. And Google shows, this is what it shows about me over here. And it's not everything, it's right, but it shows my age group, that I'm a male, my what languages I speak, what films I'm into, etc. Google knows a lot about you, a lot about your interests, and basically a lot about everyone else. That's why it can show a right ad to the right person, because it has the data. So I really encourage you to take a look and see what Google knows about you. All right, and the last bit right now, the biggest bit is the campaigns, the ad campaign. So maybe let's stop for a while and let's go from the bottom. At the very bottom, you have ads that people do see. These ads belong to an ad group that is targeted to a specific purpose. For example, a volunteering activity in Vilnius. And an ad group is recommended to have 3 ads, 2 regular ones and 1 responsive one. A campaign, on the other hand, is something above the ad group. So one campaign, for example, advertisements in Lithuania can have ad group 1, volunteering activity with refugees, and ad group 2, volunteering activity cleaning the beach. So it's 2 different activities under 2 different ad groups with 3 different ads each. But those 2 ad groups are bundled under one campaign, ads in Lithuania, because campaigns is where you select your target audience, the countries targeted, the language. So it sort of helps you to administrate your whole ad interface. You create a campaign. For example, in Active Youth, we have about 3 different main campaigns. There's ads in Lithuania, ads in Europe, and ads worldwide. And under these campaigns, we put different ad groups. So if a campaign is ads in Lithuania, we might have an ad group for volunteering activities in Vilnius or Kaunas. If a campaign is about ads in Europe, we might have an ad group on project writing, for example. Keywords, now the smallest bit, what I was talking about at first, they don't go under ads. Since these are keywords for a certain type of activity, they go under an ad group, because ad groups are for activities. Ads are just different ways to find a person to click on that activity, to find that activity. Okay, does this graphic, does this diagram make sense? Do you want me to dwell on it a little bit more? Maybe something is unclear.
It does make sense. Everything makes sense.
All right, thanks. I'll move on in just a second. Once again, a recap number 2 is that campaign is the biggest bit in Google Ads. So it allows you to choose your target group, audience, language, etc. Then the ad group specified for a certain activity or product or a thing, and then an ad. So a few ads for the same ad group. This is the hierarchy in Google. Once again, 3 ads per group, that's the optimal number. Ad is composed of 3 headlines. Headline 1, the subject, headline 2, the features, and headline 3, call to action. And it's really important to take as much space as possible, because you want as little space as possible for your competitors. And the last thing is, of course, just to Google what you did not hear in this workshop, or what you did not understand, or something that I didn't tell. You can always Google those empty bits. I really encourage you to go to Google Ads platform and just start a campaign. You don't need money to start it. You can just see around how does it feel, because the platform itself is very, very intuitive. It's not that difficult, and well, it should be used. And thanks a lot. That will be it. I hope you got some insights. If anything, just let me know via email, LinkedIn, or personally if you need more advice, support in starting advertising with Google. So thanks a lot. If you have any questions right now, you're also welcome.